Yo, what's up, man? Sean G, Detroit, Michigan, Pyramid Media Center, Oak Park, Michigan, on Greenfield. Dr. Tonesa, Welch. Okay. Me and you spoke on the phone maybe a year or so ago when I was covering the B.M.F. Meech and Covey situation. Just met Dr. Welch 7 minutes ago, right? She don't know me, I don't know her. I posted something on my Instagram, you commented, I said, yo, I'm in Detroit. Cause I asked you for an interview when we first met. And you was like, I don't want to come to New York, and but anyway, we here, fascinating person, Black Mafia queen, the woman behind the B.M.F. empire, Dr. Tonesa Welch, with H. Corey Mills. You got to go get this book. I'm going to put the link underneath this video and in the comment section. Tonesa, where you from?
I'm from Detroit, Michigan.
Born and raised?
Born and raised right here in the D.
Okay, what side of town?
West side, the best side.
West side, the best side. Shout out to West Side, Detroit.
West side,
okay,
right?
okay. Where'd you go to public schools?
On the west side, I went to my high school. I just said my high school was Cooley High.
Cooley High on the west side of Detroit. Okay. 2-parent household, 1-parent household?
No, 2 parents. I was raised with my mom and my stepdad and my 3 brothers.
Okay. You had a good relationship with your moms and your step?
Oh my God, my mom were best friends, yes. Very good relationship. With my stepdad, good relationship. He was a little stern and mean while I was growing up, but as I got older, I realized,
Why?
He's just strict. He was from the country, he was
Where?
stuck in Bessemer, Alabama.
Shout out to Alabama.
Yeah, so he was just strict in his ways, raising, a girl and 3 boys. So, you had to be strict. So.
Now, what about your biological pop? So this is the camera right here, Tony.
Okay.
Tony, say if you want to talk to the people.
My biological dad, I knew my biological dad, but I didn't have a relationship with him until I got a little older. Until probably, I was out of high school. And he was from the east side. But after that, we started to have a great relationship. I had, 2 great dads. That's what I say about it. Yeah, so.
Cool,
Yeah.
cool. Tony, so what kind of student were you?
Mid. School really wasn't my thing, but I knew I had to go. I went, I graduated, did a few college courses, but it really wasn't my, my thing. I wasn't one of those girls who was growing up and already knew what I wanted to do. I wasn't goal oriented. I was like, I don't know what I want to do. I thought maybe, I had my parents both worked at Ford Motor Company. My brothers, right out of high school, they started working at Ford Motor Company, so I thought that would be my destiny, Ford Motor Company. What? I did interview, but Ford turned me down. So.
How old are you, Tonesa?
I'm old.
You
old
are.
Enough.
All right.
We're not gonna be talking about that.
We ain't gonna do all that.
Already Google me enough, so yeah, we ain't gonna talk about that.
All right, so listen.
That ain't even important. I'm old.
All right. So let's get right into it.
I'm older. I'm seasoned.
Let's get right into it, man.
Okay.
You were involved in arguably, and you tell me if I'm wrong. This is unscripted. We didn't write down no questions. Is this unscripted?
It's unscripted.
Unscripted, right off the top of the dome. You were involved in arguably, what do they say, the largest
drug organization,
black drug organizations in this country's history.
Right.
Talk to us a little. What organization was that?
Black Mafia family.
Based out of
Detroit, Michigan. And I guess why it was so worldwide, because it went to other states all around the different states, They had little hubs. I would call them hubs around, from the west coast to the east coast to the south to the north, So that's why it was one of the largest black-known drug organizations.
What side of Detroit did it start on?
If you say, I guess it started from Southwest Detroit. That's where Demetrius Flannery and Terry Flannery is from, Southwest Detroit. And they started out of their side of town.
let me say this, Tonesa. In 1987, 1988, I leave North Jersey and I go to school in Atlanta, and it seemed like, man, all the dudes with Michigan license plates, man, had these fly ass cars, man. And it was a lot of Detroit, Michigan hustlers in Atlanta in 1987, 88, 89. Is that around the time y'all was getting down?
Well, at that time, I was married to someone else. And so I didn't start hanging. I did, go back and forth to Atlanta, but I wasn't really a part of, B.M.F wasn't around then. I was with someone else that was raised on the east side of Detroit, wasn't a part of an organization, but was a drug kingpin. And that's when I started, when I was around 19 years old, dating him, and started just being in the streets, being involved with drug dealers, being involved with drugs, just started my life from there.
Why did you choose that life? Why did you get involved with that?
I don't know, just wanted to jump right in. I'm always, what I think about when I'm talking to my family now, even, like through the holidays, they were just talking about how it was. I've always been something like a go-getter, a leader. They used to call me GOAT. And at the time, GOAT didn't have any meaning to me, but if you're from the South, GOAT still, what they mean from GOAT now is what it is, back then. So they used to call me GOAT. And GOAT was always, back, I guess, even like now, like a leader. And that's what my nickname was from my family, because I was always the leader type person, running my household, just wasn't interested in what other people was interested in. I always had this keen interest in doing other things. Like I said, school didn't fascinate me. I was always kind of advanced, like nothing they were doing, like I was always wanting to do something else. My life, I wanted to be microwavable. I wanted to just go out and adventure the world. I was always independent. And that's, just how, I don't know where I got it from, just maybe being the only girl and, maybe sport or they giving me my way. It just was, I was born with that kind of leadership skills that I just wanted. So I kind of fell into it. Went to a party one time and I was fascinated about what I seen at the party. Went to a party where
with the players and the hustlers?
The players and the hustlers from Detroit.
The cars.
But when I even think about it before that, I remember watching Superfly.
Mm-hmm.
And me and my
in the 70s.
In the 70s, and that fascinated me.
Yeah.
Like watching Superfly, him and Foxy Brown, all of that kind of stuff really fascinated me back then. So it didn't take much for me to just like that I was introduced to it. I was already wanting to be a part of it. So once I met my ex-husband and he was a part of that life, it was like, okay. I found it. This is where I want to be. It was not I wanted.
What year was that, Tony? So you found your ex-husband and you got involved. This is when you get into the B.M.F thing, or is he not in the B.M.F
It's
at this
not
point?
even B.M.F at this point. It's just East Side players. It's just like you had the freeway. What is his name now? I can't think of the guy's name, but from East Side, you had the East Side guys, the Puritan guys, you had other, like, people don't understand, like, Meech and T are 9 years younger than me, so we were already, while they were in their neighborhood doing what they do on the corners, we were already kind of elevated. I was already elevated, messing with older men.
Guys that was really moving weight already.
They were already moving weight. And so, went to a party, end up seeing these players, big cars, for just the whole
thing.
Jewelry. I already had the Rolexes, everything that I was like, okay, I want to be a part of it. So once I met my ex, it was like, okay, if I get with him, I could look like them. So it was just like, this is what I wanted to be. This is I found my niche. I'm a part of this. I fell right into it.
When did you meet Terry?
I met Terry back in, let me think of the years, probably in 85, 86, something like that. But I was like, my son was one, he wasn't even one, he was 1 month old and he was born in 81. So I've been in the streets since about 81.
Now, Terry was getting money at that time?
I wouldn't know. I didn't meet him until later on. And when I met them, like I said, we were already at a different plateau at a different level. So to me, they were just finding their way, you know, like everybody started from somewhere. So they were just finding their way, but they wasn't where my ex and some of his friends were.
All right.
Because they was a lot older, you know, they've been around. They were doing the heroin. They were just, you know, all pimping, heroin, macking, you know, the East Side players. At that time, that was where it was at. You know?
East side of Detroit.
East Side of Detroit, yeah.
Okay.
I don't want brought it to with me and my ex, I don't want brought it to the West Side. I told him that we should go to the West Side because I'm from the West Side, and to me, it was like more money over there. And I knew that we could get the money if we venture over to the West.
Now, when you're saying your ex, this is not Terry, this is...
No, I was married before I met Terry.
Okay.
To another street guy.
Okay.
To another drug dealer.
Okay.
That he the one introduced me to Terry, because Terry and them came under him to work.
Okay.
Terry and Demetrius did.
Okay. Now...
You know, like when you think about the Scarface story, and you remember Esmeralda? Her name was Esmeralda, right?
Elvira.
Elvira. Okay, and that's what
She was Frank's girl.
She was Frank's girl. So imagine me as H girl, and Terry and Meech was working for him.
As Tony and my man, what's my man? Monologue. Right.
Even the prosecutors, okay, well, she was this, you know, she was this person girl at first. Actually, I was married to him, and he was at a bigger level. So when he introduced me to Terry and Meech because he wanted them to work with him. And me and my ex, we were partners in crime. So when we were doing all the deals together, flipping, you know, going out of town, doing the most, you know, we were like partners. So he's like, hey, I need to bring in some more people, you know, I want you to meet these guys, introduce me to these guys, and it was Terry and Meech.
Okay. Now, what happened? Now, your ex, what happens to him? Does he?
He ended up going to prison. And so when he went to prison, I had already been in the streets for a little while. So it was like, that's all I knew. Like, I can't give this up. This is my life, and I'm part of this. And so I started doing my own thing while he was away. And
you start hustling yourself? Without him?
Without him.
Get money?
Get money. And so he kind of like, you know, one day I went to visit him, like, I can't stop this. I got to keep going, you know. What you left with me is fine, but you know, you don't put up something for you, but I need my own. I wanted to I was addicted by it, you know.
To the lifestyle.
I was addicted to the lifestyle, you know, addicted to the status. So therefore, I wanted to keep that. And plus, I knew everybody. I knew most of the guys, the players and everybody that I could get my own supply from. And so he was like, okay, so he told Terry, keep an eye on her. I mean, that kind of eye, but he kept an eye on her, you know. And so from there, we developed more of a working situation at first that developed into like a relationship.
Okay. When does B.M.F take off, Dr. Tonesa?
To me, more so probably like in 98, 99.
Here in Detroit first?
Right, Mom? Yeah, in Detroit. Kind of Detroit, Atlanta, California. It was California in Atlanta, you know. But
so Terry and Meech, they leave Detroit and go to Atlanta?
In California. Me and Terry ended up going to California. Meech was in both places.
And this is when it just blows up?
Yes. Around 99, 2000.
Okay.
Yep.
What's your role in it? You're Terry's lady at this point, right?
Right. My role back then is I was kind of fading away out of the streets because of, here we go again with the, you know, the Terry situation where you don't have to keep working in the streets. I'm gonna become the man, and if you be my girl, you can't be in the streets like that. Because I was steadily still working in the streets. You know, I wasn't like big time, but I was doing my thing. I had enough. I didn't go into a relationship with them not having my own. But at a point is, why do you know, he started like being somebody that I could trust and was around. He was like, you out here like this, you shouldn't be out here like this.
Terry's a solid dude?
Yeah, at that point?
Yeah.
Yeah, at that point, yeah.
Okay. So now this is a nationwide thing. It's California to Atlanta. Now St. Louis comes into play too, right?
You know, before I met Cuffy and all them through Terry and them. So even when I was out here kind of like doing my thing, I guess a lot of people thought that me and Terry had been together longer, but I still was out here and they were still doing their thing. They had, I don't know how long. I guess I met Cuffy and probably around, I get my years like 90 something, probably 95, 96. So I've known Cuff and them a long time, but those were Terry and them friends. So they wasn't a part of what I was doing, but they were their friends. So they already were doing their own thing. But I had went to St. Louis a couple of times, went to, Atlanta. I didn't like Atlanta, so I was like, no, I gotta go back and do my thing here. Cause at that time I still was kind of independent and, hollering at other people before we really came together into 99, the end of 99.
Okay. Now, when do things fall apart? Well, let me ask you this. Let me ask you before we go there, Dr. Tonesa. What kind of money? What kind of money were you seeing, or what was y'all seeing? You think?
Oh my gosh. Money. It was so much money. Like, it was so much money. Sometimes it's like, where do you put it all? Where do you hide it all? What do you do with it? It was like
cash.
Cash, yeah. Heavy bags and loads of money. It was a lot. It was a lot of money. I could just say in my day, in my life, I've seen a lot of money. When people be talking about money, I'll be like, okay.
Right.
Because of, not the shame or shining. I mean,
no, that's your story. No, that's your story.
But it was a
and
lot.
It's documented.
Yeah, it's documented. It was a lot of money that I came across and I seen and I tried to carry and I handled. It was a lot.
Now, when do things start falling apart for B.M.F?
I think before our indictment, things started falling apart.
So you got indicted?
Yeah, I got indicted in 2005.
Here in Eastern Michigan?
Yeah, but I was living in California, so I went to prison out west.
So, but where did your indictment go down at?
In Eastern District of Michigan.
Eastern District of Michigan.
Mm-hmm. So they came out there and got me.
They came, okay. What year was this?
2005.
2005.
October 25th, 2005.
Talk to me about the day you found out that you got indicted, or did the feds come with a search warrant and hit the house and all?
They hit the house.
In California?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Talk about that. Talk about that day.
When they came to our house in 2005.
You and Terry?
No, Terry was him and Meech had already got indicted like a couple of weeks before that. So they were being held in a holding, but they didn't indict them. They held them on other little small charges.
They just picked them up and took them off the streets.
Yeah, and
you still in California?
I'm still in California. Yeah, and why was
at whose house?
My house, our house.
You and Terry?
Yeah, we lived there together.
Okay.
And my kids, and we all lived there. And probably like at 6 o'clock in the morning, they came. They didn't kick in my door or anything. They just called my phone, and they told me to come open the door. So when I called my phone, they introduced themselves over the phone and said, "Come open the door. This is, special agent such and such. Could you come open the door?"
Because they already had Terry already.
Yeah. And I guess from me, I had my younger son, Jason and Corey, and my mom was in the house. And so it was no need to do all that force. Yeah, so they just said, "Hey, just come open the door."
What happened? You opened the door, what happened?
Opened the door and they snatched me, put me in that little, what's it called?
The zip tie?
The zip tie so fast. And then they went through the house. They didn't tear it up or anything, but they went through it. They, went through the kids' rooms and talked to my mom, got everything that they needed to get out of there. And there was nothing in there, it was one weapon, but there was nothing in there. There was no money, no nothing.
They took you away right then?
That day, yeah. But they arraigned me that day, charged me that day,
with
let
what?
me go.
Charged you with what?
Distribution? Yeah, distribution.
How much?
I forgot, over 5 kilos or something,
Right.
something.
Right.
Yeah. But doing.
You got released after you got arraigned?
And money laundering, yeah.
And money laundering?
Yeah. I got released, that day, like later that evening. So I was charged. But what happened, why they released me, I was supposed to have surgery that morning. And they came in, and I guess some kind of way they had already knew I was supposed to have surgery.
And no question.
And so they said, we already set aside and had your surgery changed, but what we're gonna do is we can't hold you because of your illness. So they said, but we're gonna take you downtown, have you arraigned, and then you're gonna have to bond out.
Go ahead.
And they said you're gonna have to bond out. So that's what happened. So I bonded out. The next day.
What's going through your mind after they come, the zip ties, you go and get arraigned and you bond out? What's on your dome, man?
What's on my mind was just, of course you're worried and you're scared.
Hell yeah.
You don't know what's happening. But the main thing is I was worried about my sons more than anything. I kept thinking, dang, don't let nothing happen to them. Don't let nothing happen to them. And that was my main concern. I kept thinking, because you don't know, what's going to happen to them or what's going to happen to your life or anything. Or, I didn't understand the charges, because when they said distribution, I'm like, this couldn't be me, because I wasn't selling drugs with them. I had my, they said something else maybe before, or name some other people, and then I could say, okay, maybe so. So I didn't understand that part. But then when they started talking, but money laundering, I'm like, okay, but damn. You spent a lot of money, you did a lot of things. I did something that I didn't want to do. And
what was that?
I don't want to talk about it, but
okay.
It's something that I did that me and Terry discussed that I didn't want to do. And I told him I didn't want to do. I said, because if I do this, I know that this might be something, that I might go down for. And he kept asking me to do it. It took about a month for me to do it.
And you did it.
And I ended up doing it. And that was when they had to drop the distribution charge, because I filed motions. They're saying, okay, you can't tie me into saying that I sold drugs with anybody. And so I had a very good attorney. He was like, you know what, I'm gonna do the best for you. He said, you're gonna go to prison. He said, I can't get you out of not going to prison. The case is too big. You're gonna go to prison, but I'm gonna do the best I can, to get you.
He told you up front, he kept it real with you.
He kept up front. My neighbor had hired a big time attorney, but I needed a Michigan attorney. She hired a big time attorney out in California to buy me out. And he was trying to help me too, but then he was like, I need you, you're gonna need a Detroit attorney, a Michigan attorney. But they both told me that, but the California attorney thought like, oh, the boy's gonna take the case, you'll be fine. And then when I got here, that wasn't happening. I was still,
what boy's gonna take the case?
Like the Terry and me.
Okay.
They're gonna throw it all on them, you're gonna be fine. That's what the California lawyer thought.
Okay.
And I'm like, I don't know. So when I went to the Michigan attorney, he said that, oh, you gonna, huh? Huh? Yeah, what was his name? What was OJ's attorney? But
Johnny Cochran?
the white.
Shapiro?
Shapiro, yeah, Shapiro.
O.J. Simpson's attorney, Shapiro.
Yeah, O.J.
Was your attorney, or?
But he was my attorney in California. I had a good friend.
Robert Shapiro.
Robert Shapiro. She was very rich. And she was like, I'm gonna have my Shapiro come. So when I went downtown, he was the one that came, made sure I bond out, did everything for me. So he walked me through a little bit of it. And then he was saying, okay, but I don't have a Michigan, license, but if you still want me to be your attorney, then we have to hire a Detroit attorney to work with you. But that didn't, once I hired the Detroit attorney, he said, you'll be fine. You don't need to spend all that money. You don't need me. You're gonna be fine. The guys, everybody gonna work this out. You'll be fine. So, but when I got with my Michigan attorney, he was like, you know what? You definitely going to prison. It's no ifs, ands,
no doubt about it.
No doubts about you going to prison. You spent a lot of money. You got all that stuff in your name. There's no way around. There's no way to, say how you got all this stuff.
How much you spent on lawyer fees?
Ooh, I can't remember. It was up there. Mine wasn't that bad.
Probably at least probably 100-something thousand.
Yeah, right about 100-something thousand. It was
Back then.
Back then.
In what year? 2005? 2006? 100 grand.
Yep.
Oh, see, she probably spent over on a
I
house.
probably spent the over, but my son too. Like my son was indicted. So
Right.
You got him. We got to spend 100 and something for him because neither one of us had public defenders. We had like
Paid lawyers, private attorneys.
private attorneys, and so I understood the whole process. And then when my son got indicted, he took his case. He pleaded right out and went right in, and so I didn't go into 3 years later. So you
fought yours for 3 years.
Right, yeah. I wasn't going to trial. This is because the case was so big, by the time they got back around
To everybody,
me,
right.
And then my attorney doing all the motions, he was really working for me. He
Right.
was like, I can't see it. He said, I don't even understand, but he said, the case is so big and you're black, so you definitely going to prison. And you spent a lot of money. He said, we just can't rectify how all this money came. Even though I had the company, a couple of companies that made a lot of money, it's still with all the things that I acquired, I couldn't.
No tax return to justify it.
Tax return, not to justify.
Not to
that
justify,
stuff.
right.
And so it was okay. It was like, I just said, like, okay, making a joke. I can't do no more than 10 years. Like 10 is my max. But I ended up pleading to 7, worked it down to 57 months.
Okay. So you pled guilty to what?
Money laundering.
Money laundering.
Mm-hmm.
And so you get sentenced. Are you on the street fighting your case, or are you locked up fighting?
No,
your
I
case?
was on the street fighting my
The whole
case.
time?
The whole time.
So when you go to sentencing, you got up that morning from your crib and went to sentencing.
Mm-hmm. Well, I flew back to Detroit each time. I flew back to Detroit because I did pre-trial. They had jurisdiction over me in California, but I did pre-trial out there and did my case in Detroit. And so when it was each time to go to trial, or to
Go to court, you would have to fly from California back ahead.
Yep.
So you fly back here for sentencing.
Mm-hmm.
You get 84 months.
57.
57 months.
Mm-hmm.
They take you right there, or they let you self-surrender?
They let me self-surrender.
Where did you self-surrender to?
Victorville Prison in Victorville, California.
Okay. Is that now with the women's side? Are you guys classified the same as the men, like low, medium,
You know what?
high?
They told me like I was going to a camp, really. And when I got to Victorville, it was ran like a medium, not even like a low, like a medium men's prison, because we were still around the fence, and everything that affected them affected us. And if you know anything about Victorville Prison, it's one of the most notorious prisons
In the federal system?
in the federal system, and they were always on lockdown there because they have a medium, low, and a high, and the high stayed, on lockdown. So that affected the camp because we were all connected. We all were, when you go to work, you could see them, so it affected it. It wasn't a camp. I thought I was going to a camp at first, but I didn't, and it was literally ran like a high to me.
Now, Dr. Tonesa, through all of these 3 years that you're out fighting your case, are you sad? Are you depressed? Are you mad? Are you pissed off? Are you excited? Are you happy? Talk about, because I know when I caught my case, I was devastated,
I was devastated. I was
I was devastated.
And the thing about it is I carried a lot of guilt and regret because at that time, I still didn't understand. Like, think about it. You don't understand. Like, I didn't do nothing. I'm thinking like, I didn't do nothing. I was just being a girlfriend, spending money. At that time, I'm not thinking about it. But I've been in the street selling drugs since I was 19 years old, right? And I never got caught. Or my ex-husband got caught. He didn't, throw me down the river. And so all these times, even when I was out there on my own, I didn't get caught up. So I did a lot of destruction on my own, but I didn't realize that. I'm just sitting back being, I'm not understanding, taking responsibility. I'm mad, holding a lot of regret, angry at the world, talking about these niggas got me messed up. How can you be so stupid to get me messed up? I didn't understand that.
Did anybody cooperate against you?
Yeah, that's how I got caught up. Yeah, I mean, yeah, basically, yeah.
Did you cooperate?
No. I got my paperwork. You can see
Why
my
you didn't cooperate?
It wasn't in my DNA.
Did they ask you to cooperate, or you could have if you really wanted to? Obviously, you can.
But the lawyer I had, it was not even. He didn't even ask. He was gonna do whatever he could to get me through it, and he already let me know. Like, gonna do some time. There's no ifs, ands,
My lawyer told me that too, man. That shit, that was like sobering me. He said, Sean, he said, I can't promise you ain't going to prison. And I had never heard anybody talk to me like that before.
Right, me neither.
And I was like,
he was tough as nails. He was just tough like my stepdad. And it was just like, and he didn't sugarcoat anything. Like, you've been out here. You've been out here doing this, whatever. Whatever, I'm gonna do the best I can, but just know you're going, and you just gonna have to pull up your panties and be a big girl. And plus, my son was already gone. It wasn't an option. He wasn't even gonna let me do that. He was like, just go in there and get a plea. Don't be trying to take it to trial. Don't do any of that. Get the best plea. Get in there and get it done. And you know what I realized? I wasted a lot of time and money in them 3 years.
Ain't no question.
I wish I would have went
and got it over with from the door. Yep.
I would have been a lot richer, a lot more knowledgeable, because what you do is you steal around the fake people that's around you trying to suck you dry. You spend a lot of money, you waste a lot of money, you make
sleepless nights, insomnia, depression.
You make bad decisions,
fear, insecurity.
Yeah.
And
think about it as a woman too. I thought, I'm always
it's a bad move.
It's a bad move, and you have so many people preying on you, and so it's a real bad thing. And I'm like, dang, I wish when
the feds still be following you
all the time.
They still be
they
following
were still coming to get stuff. Like, what are y'all looking for? You got everything. I'm on my knuckles right here. I'm just really trying to survive right now. I'm just, like you said, I became like, I was drinking so much. When I look back at it, I'm like, man, you was partying, drinking, but in that time, I think I really became a mean alcoholic. I was really mean.
Trying to drown out the pain.
Yeah.
So some people cooperated against you.
Yeah.
You don't cooperate. You go on in.
I go on in.
What's your first day in prison? Tell me about it. When you self-surrendered.
When I first surrendered, let me tell you, I had so many parties. Like, I don't know what I was celebrating. I was celebrating going to prison. Like, why am I celebrating going to prison? But I was celebrating going to prison, and the first day I went in, I was so high, and this is crazy because people.
You went to the prison high?
I was out of my mind. I was peeled up, drugged up, smoked up. I went in there so wasted. I went in, and I went in through the whole process, right? And afterwards, I remember they came in and they thought I was suicidal. I'm like, no, I'm just high. I need to lay down. But like, come on with this. Like, what we doing here? So no, you got to talk to the psych. We can't even let you go in there. I'm like, literally, I'm just high. So the psych came and talked to me. I'm just so high. I've been up probably like 2 days. I'm partying because I couldn't just come in here like this, right? I went in. You know how they put you in? Where they put you before?
R&D.
R&D, right? I go to sleep. Wake up. Somebody come, get up. It's count time. I literally had a blackout. Forgot I was there. Like, what? It's like, you gotta get up. It's count time. I've never been in prison. I've been in county jails before, but not in prison.
4 o'clock count.
4 o'clock count. I had slept in from the time I was processed all the way to 4 o'clock. And that's when they woke me up. I didn't have to use the bathroom. I didn't eat. I slept till 4 o'clock. And they woke me up. A little Mexican girl woke me up. She was the only one out of all them people in there. I woke up, I'm looking around the unit, and all I see is girls on girls. Everybody looking at me like,
girls on girls.
Well, you know how that go. Like
with the sexual thing.
Yeah, the girlfriends, everybody
holding hands.
They trying to figure out, like, they must have been watching me sleep or something. But I was out, and even when she got me up, he was like, you gotta stand here, you gotta wait here. You know, and I'm hearing the key. She said, here they come, stand up. And I'm still kind of foggy because I'm like, you know,
where am I?
Where am I? All I see is a room with little bitty windows and bunk beds. And so I'm telling her, I gotta get out of here. Cause you know, have you ever been like that kind of, when you had that blackout? I'm telling her, I gotta get out of here. And she was saying, you can't go right now, you can't go right now. Now it's in October. I surrendered October the 8th. And so,
I surrendered October the 6th.
Right, so you know, and then it's already dark. By count time, I don't know why it was so dark. Oh, okay, let me back up. So it was dark. I couldn't see anything, so I'm like, I gotta get out of here. I started like I was hyperventilating. I said, I gotta get out. She said, you can't go. She told me to be quiet. You can't go. You can't go. I'm like, okay. And so I went, after they finished count, I thought I could walk out with them. She's like, no, you can't. As soon as they clear count, it's gonna be all right, it's gonna be all right, calm down. I'm like, okay. So once I calmed down, the bell, they cleared and people started walking. So I ran straight out and it was I'm in the middle of the desert, because Victorville's in the desert. It had a sandstorm. She trying to grab me, you can't go out there, you can't go out there. And all I remember was just sand and tumbleweed just coming around. The only thing I needed to do was get some air, and I just wanted to get out of that room. And that was my first day.
Dr. Tonesa, does the same woman that walked into Victorville on the day you just described walk out of Victorville? You did all your time in Victorville?
I did. I went to Dublin prison after that.
Up in the Bay Area?
Yep. I did 18 months there and another 18 in Dublin.
Now, does the same woman that walked into prison walk out of prison, or do you make changes?
I made so many changes. I had, once I got over, my regret, my anger, my arrogance. I was really, when I'm telling you, they were trying to break me, but I didn't break per se, but it was such the experience that I really realized I didn't know who I was. I didn't. One day, we did this thing and they said, well, who are you? Tell me who you are. I didn't even know who I was because I felt like I was two different people. Like it depends on what part of life or what setting I was in, who I was. Was I a drug lady or was I a mother? Or what was I?
Talk about it.
And so I had been doing this life so long, I really didn't really understand my personality. Who really was I? Was I a good mother? Was I a bad mother? Was I a loving person? I didn't know who I was because I had to be tough all the time, this tough persona being in the streets. And I just wanted to be going through prison and everything and learning who I was and talking to God and praying. I ended up working in the chapel. I didn't know a lot. I knew I was God's child, but I didn't know a lot about God in the Bible. I was just knowing that God was helping me get through all my situations. Like every time you're doing something, you knew God was there. You knew God was your Savior. You knew, but was He really in my soul? Did I have Him? And I had to learn all that in prison. And I just once I started breaking, it was like breaking a shell open. Like my counselor said, I worked in the chapel, so I was there every day amongst all these Bibles. And I sat there and by myself every day, was reading the Bibles or meditating and talking to my counselors. And it was every day I was learning who I was, and I was softening up. And he was like, you have to cry. And I didn't realize I didn't cry. A lot. I said, I cry. He said, no, you don't. And he said, until you understand who you learn, identify who you are, you will never break and cry. And you'll hear, he said, look at this as a part of your life to find out who you are. And I was like, okay. And he was like, reflect on your life. Start reflecting on your life. And I just started going back, and every day I was journaling, writing, meditating.
Talk about it.
And I knew I didn't want to be that person who I left behind, I wanted to be somebody else. I didn't want to be tough no more. I wanted to be soft. Once I cried that one time, he said one day you're gonna feel like it, you're gonna go on that track. And he said, don't stop it, just cry. And one day I just broke down and released. And after that, I cry all the time now. Like, I'm just even though I'm older and I'm more mature, but it was just something that changed within me. And I was like, I love who I am, you know?
Dr. Tonesa, was journaling therapeutic for you?
Yeah, I did that every day. Very therapeutic, and that's why I tell people, and people don't understand, you know, when you say journal, talk about it, and when you journal, you just, if you can't talk to anybody, you're releasing. I can go back and look at some of my journals
I
now,
got my notebook too from commissary.
and I was like, I was so dark. I was really in a dark place.
Talk about it.
In a dark place, sad, angry. And I look back at that and I'm where I'm at now, just like, who was that person?
The growth.
Who was that? You know, who was walking the earth? Was that you? Who was it? You couldn't have been. I'm Carol's daughter, like, I don't know who I was, but I was in a dark, I had been so unhappy for so long, didn't even realize it until I had started looking through my journals. I think even though, you know, I deal back and forth with grief for losing my son, I think I'm in the best place in my life right now. You know, I feel good about myself. I feel, you know, I don't know if it's an age or whatever, because sometimes you can be older and still not be mature and know who you are.
Absolutely.
But I feel so confident in who I am today.
Dr. Tonesa, did you meet some real smart women in there and make some lifelong friends? I mean, some wizards, some amazing genius.
And so people just don't even realize that it's some really smart, intelligent, just beautiful women in prison. I mean, I met so many. We all have things in common. You know, nobody looked to me. Nobody was different. Nothing. No matter if I lived on the hill, how much money I had, nobody was different from me. We all had something in common, and we all, to me, were smart. We had our own little niche.
We just made bad decisions, made some bad choices.
Yep, and that's what it was.
Was it segregated in the female joint, like with the blacks, the Mexicans, the whites in the States?
Yeah. I don't know how it is in the East, and they say it's not as bad in the East prisons, but in the West Coast prisons, it's really bad. It's very segregated. But
talk about where you was at. What was going on?
It was very segregated. The black women hung with the black women, but me, I'm just like, I was always like this person. Like I said, I don't know what it had, even like an insecurity somewhere down there, but a confidence. So I didn't do all that. I'm sitting over here, the Asian women gonna rub my head and, you know, and cook for me. The Mexicans, they my girls, the blacks my girls, whatever. I just glided through. I don't know, even like today or all my life, I don't know how to click. I don't do well in clicks. I do well when I'm in charge of me.
Talk about it.
You know, so that's how it is. When I went to prison, everybody understood that, you know, that I didn't even tell people my charge when I went in. They didn't know my charge until the book came out. And somebody got the book in prison, and then that's when it started circulating. I'm like, oh, bitch, I just know who you are. They thought I had a white collar crime. I still, you know, because I didn't brag, I didn't boast, I didn't even talk about it because my journey was a little different, you know, so.
So Dr. Tonesa, you get released from prison. You have a PhD now. You go. So when
I didn't get that till last year. But when I came home from prison, life was hard. But what I knew was I wasn't going.
How much money you had when you got out?
I think none. None. It was like a whole new life, you know. What I had and I left, I bought a couple of houses, got scammed out of them. I thought when I come home from prison that I was gonna have what I had. I was like, I'm gonna come home, if I don't have nothing else, I'm gonna have somewhere to lay my head. They scammed me out of that. I had to go stay with my son Corey in college in his apartment. It was bad, but you know, like you talking about stripped of everything, like stripped of everything. But it was like, okay, this is, like I said, life was scary. It was sometimes you feel like driving over the mountains, and you know, because you don't know. Like, I never knew how to budget. I didn't know how to, you know, go to gas stations and what you do now. Like, oh, this gas station too high. Let me go here. You know, you breezing through the grocery store. Now I'm looking at prices and stuff like that. I never had to do that since I was 19 years old. And we talking about 19 and 81, all the way to 2005. That's a long time to be getting money. You know, it's not like I was a celebrity or, you know, born rich. I was just this street girl who was always getting money over a course of 20-some, 30 years and never had to budget. And so life, it was scary when I first came home. I had
Did you go back to the street?
No.
Why you didn't go back to the street?
Because I had already determined I was too smart to just go back to the street.
But the money was out there though.
Oh yeah, it was out there, and I could have. I mean, a lot of people, you know, offered it to me, and you know, and it just wasn't in me no more. It was just like I felt like I was such a disappointment to my parents and my children that I didn't want to. I was exhausted from the life. I didn't want to do it. It was no loyalty in it. It was just, you know, I escaped it. I made it through, and it was just, I didn't want to do it no more. It was just like, you can do something else. And really, since I've been home, I have done so many different things that I didn't even, there's so many people that went to school for what things that I have just, like you say, off the dome have been figuring out and doing. You know, and that's what I said. I told them, I said, I'd rather go supersize somebody's meal at McDonald's than go back to prison. I know
prison is whack, man.
It's too whack, and I know I'm smarter than that I don't have to go. And I've adjusted to the life. This is real life. I wasn't people in the street and having all that money. I think every time I think about it, all the monies we had and everything, it was like how they said, dummies with money. You know, like you don't have anything. You know, like you had all this money, and you can't say you have anything. So now when I acquire something, I have it because I really earned it. I worked for it. I studied for it. You know, I grind. I really, really, even though street is grind, I really, really grind for it.
Dr. Tonesa, when you get released from prison, you have a college degree at that point?
Nope, I had nothing. I had all my little certificates.
High school diploma?
I had a high school diploma, some college credit, all my little certificates that you get through prison, you know, and that's...
But no college degree?
No college degree.
So you get out and you go to college?
I go to school.
Where
back
at?
And forth. I took courses at Wayne Community College.
Here?
Here. Online courses.
What was your major?
Just business.
Okay.
I really didn't have a real major. I just was like, just go to school.
Just get in there.
Just get in there. Take some courses, learn some business. I think like everything that you do, you have to. I want to learn about it now because I'm so scared that if I don't learn it, there's somebody gonna gank me for it. So I have to build some kind of knowledge. If I don't, I have sons. I'd be like, come show me what to do, you know. But my doctorate right now is on a humanitarian. I took courses for that and grind and did the work.
And you got out and just got a job?
I got out, I got a job. My first job was at the mall because they told me I had to get a job. So I went and got a job.
For probation?
Yeah, so I went and got a job, but I knew I wasn't gonna be there long. And this white girl had told me she was in college because we worked in the office. I didn't work in the store, I worked for the mall, you know, the corporation. And she told me, she said that she was leaving, she got a job. And I said, oh, where you get a job at? She told me she was going to work at this medical company. I said, oh, I wonder if I can get a job. I said, you can't get a job there. You have to have a college degree. I said, okay. I said, where's that? And she told me where it's at. I went and applied for the job. And I got the job. And then I got promoted way before her. And she was like, oh, you got the job. And then I worked there about a year and a half, got a promotion, left there because the schedule was too tight. It was a medical company. Went and got another job, was, top salesperson in that company. Sat there, and what I did was, I went under my maiden name. I never used my Welch name because you could Google me.
You could Google you.
So I always use my maiden name, my married name. And somebody seen me at the next company, and they told them
who you was.
Who I was, and they fired me.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, but it was the best thing because one day I was
You was hurt, Dr. Tonesa?
I was hurt. I was embarrassed, but I didn't understand it. And it was a lady that was working for me. She said, it's okay because this job is holding you back. She said, I see greater for you. This job is really holding you back. And I was like, okay, I took it, you start thinking like it's always a reason for something, what you gonna do with it. My son has this thing, my oldest son has this thing like, soak in it, understand it, and don't stay there. He said you got 24 to 48 hours. Soak in it, cry, whatever you need to do. And after that, start planning what your next step, and that's what I did. I started saying, okay, I'm starting my organization. But let me backtrack, because when I came home from prison, I had a show. I had already, I went out and I got a show deal.
What kind of show?
It was called, that's what my youngest son was telling you about. He did the whole sizzle. I came home, I said I wanted to do a show. I met a lady from Disney Paramount then. They gave me a contract. It was gonna be what they was calling it B.M.F wise, but it wasn't supposed to be that. And I ended up getting that show deal. I reached out to some of the guys that was in the crew. I said, hey, I got a show deal. Do you want any of the girls to be on the show? They told me which girls they wanted on the show, but what happened was that whole thing in there. The girls didn't understand business. They tried to take the show from me, so I kept getting into it with them, and then they kept calling they called my probation officer a lot on that.
Wow.
And so I had to walk away from the show. And that's when I started going to get my other jobs and stuff like that. And that's when the lady would say, because you're not supposed to be here. You're supposed to be doing something else. There's something out there for you.
When do you come out of prison, Dr. Tonesa?
2012.
You been back to prison since?
No, not even a precinct.
No police contact, no nothing?
Nothing. I got bonded, so I work with the police. I work with the mayors. I work,
Now?
Yeah, I ended up when I got fired from my job in California, I helped with the incentive to remove the box, because one thing about it is, like I say, is I could do a job. Just because I was a felon, I shouldn't have got fired. So I was so upset about that. Was speaking to some lawyers and judges. Somebody introduced me to somebody, and they said, well, you should help, maybe start a law for them to stop saying fire people. Why are you asking me, am I a felon? Me being a felon is not saying that I can't do that job. Remember, I'm top salesperson at this job. I'm moving and grooving. And so when they fired me, okay, you didn't fire me because I didn't do an exceptional job.
Because of poor performance.
Yeah, poor performance. You fired me.
From my past.
From my past. So we got the incentive, and they passed a law in California, so I'm part of that incentive where you can't ask a person on a job application if they're a felon.
Awesome.
Yeah. So that was my journeys through life. So I started working with the mayors of California. I was helping on the campaign for mayor in Detroit. I've just been, doing, just moving and grooving, just doing my thing, since I came home from prison. I just don't stop, just keep going,
I see you on social media, you do speaking engagements and things like that too, right? So if people wanted you to come and speak.
If you want me to come speak, you could reach out to me. My bio is my social media. My name on social media is First Lady Tonesa. All my information is on there. You can reach out to me it's 2 emails on there. You can reach out to me, and you can tell me what you want me to do. But I do speaking engagements. I do I do prison. I go inside the prison, speaking engagements. I do campfire engagements, so hey, come book me.
Dr. Tonesa, what would the Dr. Tonesa of 2026 tell the Tonesa of 1991?
You know what I would tell people that, like you said, 81, maybe like 81.
When you got 81.
When I first
Got into
started,
the year.
that to believe in yourself more. Try to have more confidence. Find you some good mentors to be around. Don't take life. Life is not to be breezed through. Slow down. It's okay. Take your time. Discover who you are first before you even go out there, fall in love, have children, because you got a lot of growing to do. So just take your time through life, and everything is don't be so hard on yourself. Don't think you have to have everything. Just take your time. Listen to your mom. I know that's a cliche, but if you got a mom and she's a good mom, listen to her.
What about some of the young people involved in the streets, Dr. Tonesa?
It's the same thing. That's a never ending. You can't win.
It's a losing situation.
It's a losing situation. You never win, especially nowadays. You can't win because nobody is loyal. Everybody is telling on everybody. And when you think about it, all the money that you make, when you look at it, the time that you get, it don't math. The math is not mathing, and you lose. When you lose in time, you can't get that back, and you don't even understand time until you sitting somewhere and somebody telling you what to do with your time. It's not like you can go to 9-to-5 job and then you can go home and be relieved. You can go home and spread your legs and throw your clothes off. When you go to prison or your life is controlled like that, it's not a win. It's just a losing battle. You don't want your life control. It's nothing. Like you said, it's whack. It's just.
They told me that the police can make 6,000 mistakes, but you can't make one.
And I tell
because
people,
when you make your one and they catch you,
yeah.
It's
and
over.
People think they always can beat the game. Like I used to tell T, when you're one brain, you got one brain. While you sleep, it got 5. There's somebody, they do this in shifts. Somebody, when he finished watching you and driving by and writing notes and talking to people about everything and what the days went and who, all your informants, and they pass the torch. The afternoon shift come in.
With a fresh brain.
With a fresh brain, then you got a new brain that after it's the clock working. While you sleep, you can't outthink them. And people think they can outthink them, and that's the problem with us. We think we're so smart sometimes that we can outthink people. And you can't outthink so many brains. You have one, and you don't know. And when you're in the street, it's like I said, you can't trust anybody really, because nobody is who they say they are. You want people to be loyal to you. You want them like, this my brother, this my sister, this my man, this my woman. But in the street, it's just not like that. That's not real life,
The podcast was sold. Black Mafia Queen, go get this book. Dr. Tonesa Welch with H. Corey Mills. H. Corey Mills.
That's my son, y'all.
You can get this book on barnesandnoble.com. I'm going to have those links underneath this video. Go follow Dr. Tonesa on her Instagram. Book her to come out and speak at your high school. I'm talking about cross country.
Girls,
juvenile.
County jails.
What you guys know of the Black Mafia family, this is the Black Mafia Queen. So if you want the real, get with Dr. Tonesa. And Dr. Tonesa, like I told y'all, we don't even know each other. We just met. This video is 59 minutes. We met maybe 70 minutes ago, if that. And but there's a kinship with people that have done federal prison time, that we have this bond that's like unspoken. It's like a fraternity.
Especially if you kept it,
Right.
Don't everybody don't have this mind.
No.
but, know,
If you signed the 5K1 or you did a proffer agreement or anything like that.
I'm gonna have to, cause you got all these people who be wanting to go up my head. I'm gonna have to give you my paperwork or something.
What they be saying, Dr. Solis, that you ain't writing exact?
They be, you know how people.
They be calling you rat?
But they call everybody rat, don't they?
So
I'm just.
All you gotta do is what? Pull your.
That's all they gotta do.
All you gotta do is go on Pacer and pull it all down.
It up. It's just, I'm just a woman, and they can't believe that that this woman did all this. So they just want to give me shade, but it's okay. But I have a lot of love, and I have a lot of love for y'all too. So follow me, girl. Come get this book. Go get the book. Go get the book.
Black Mafia Queen.
There's more in there. Some juice in there too.
The woman behind the B.M.F empire, Dr. Tonesa Welch, with H. Corey Mills. The dope book, forward by Vivica Fox. Sean G, podcast was so it don't never stop.
Thank you, Sean.
Likewise, like
it was a pleasure.
Detroit in the house.
D.
Peace.